I'd like to call to order this Thursday, July 1st, 2021 meeting of Springfield Historic Commission. We have Commissioners Walsh, Nardi, McFarland, Finn, and Kroll present. And let me just go over some of the meeting issues here. In order to enable municipal government to continue its important work during the COVID-19 pandemic while assuring both city employees and citizens can satisfy CDC social distancing guidelines, the City of Springfield is providing public notice that will conduct a public hearing utilizing remote technology. Copies of said petitions, texts, and maps may be requested by email or phone. Email should be directed to the Office of Planning and Economic Development at Allen@springfieldcityhall.com or by calling 413-787-6020. To view the public hearing, it's on the Focus TV community website. Public comment will be taken in two segments. The first comment period will take place prior to the meeting discussion. The second public comment period will take place after the meeting and remain open for 24 hours after the meeting. To provide for public comment in writing, mail Springfield Historic Commission, 70 Tapley Street, Springfield, Mass. 01104, or email aallen@springfieldcityhall.com. To provide for public comment by voicemail, the number is 413-750-3223. Messages received will be played at the Historic Commission hearing or at the continued hearing date. All commenters should state their name, address, company, or organizational affiliation in addition to items their comments pertain to. Voice messages received 24 hours before the hearing will be put into the record during the public hearing, and comments after the meeting would be entered to the continued date for the hearing. Voice messages are limited to 2 minutes. To request a reasonable accommodation and or language service, please call 413-787-6020. So just to highlight that, when petitioners, when you speak, please give us your name and your address. And if there's any contractors or any other people speaking in their behalf, also your name and address when you speak. Try to stay muted in the meantime. And let's go on. We have no tabled items, so let's get to the continued public hearings. Just for if it's your first hearing, we won't be voting on it because of our requirement to get public commentary. So everything that the first meeting is always continued to the second for the vote. So there's only one new public hearing. So let's get back to the continued 57 School Street.
That one was voted on at the last meeting. So
which one was?
57 School Street is no longer on the agenda.
No. Then why am I looking at it here?
Yeah.
Do we have an updated agenda? Okay, we do. Cool. 211, 213 Worthington.
We do have public commentary from the previous meeting. I don't know if you want me to read that out for maybe some commissioners who were not present.
Well, you entered it into the record then, correct?
Yes.
And is any commissioners or anybody want to hear that public commentary again? Because this is an application for a certificate of appropriateness for a mural installation on the east side of the building. So any commissioners, do the petitioners like to add anything? John?
Yeah, I'm here. John's not here.
Oh, okay.
All I'll say is that just to give you a little background, State Representative at the time, Sean Allen, and Senator Welch, and the property owner, Mr. Ed Kenny, came to me and said, "Can you and John, organize and do a mural here?" This was, keep in mind, this was prior to MGM, actually opening. It was the train station was still under construction. Duryea Way hadn't even started. I don't think their new construction, nor was Stern Square. I think that was a work in progress at the time.
Okay.
But the idea was that people getting off the train coming into Springfield, the senator and Sean felt like it would be a great way to welcome people into the city, kind of that really pops out at you. And this was, of course, before the mural project. Now that we have murals, beautiful murals all over the city, and it's great. But we were the only ones doing murals at the time, like on Elm Street and other places. So anyway, we said we would be very interested. So they pursued getting funding for that. And they came back to us with the funding after a year. And we started doing a variety of different renditions, some of which was incorporating some of those logos, but mostly doing a completely different sort of composition that would, and you've seen the pictures. I think you've all seen the rendering.
We have.
Okay. So we've just learned for the first time that there's some kind of historic significance for those logos. At the last meeting that we presented to you, that was the first time I heard that there are some, that they may have some significance. I personally don't see any aesthetic significance, but I'm not a historian like you all are. You have more knowledge about this. And I'm here to tell you that if it's offensive that we paint over those for whatever reason, and it doesn't matter whether I agree or not, we will, be happy to step back and, remove our application from consideration. So I don't have any. Well, I have no think that, this game. I'm trying to help Springfield. I've done a lot of public art stuff, in the city, and so if it's not acceptable, then so be it. We'll move on. Yeah, not a problem.
Well, I think the key is to try to find what we're doing right, not kind of look to what we might not be doing right. There's, every commissioner gets their own opinion, gets the vote, as you know. The only question I had relative to it was, this is a mural it's not going to be changing over time. You're not going to be adding or subtracting. It's a one-time deal to, however long it lasts.
Just to stage that building, this is a very challenging site. You have.
Yes, I drove by. It sure looks like a challenging site.
No way that in my lifetime I'm going to have anything to do after. If we do this one, then there's no way that I would get involved in trying to do. I hope it'll last a long time, and well, if it happens. If not, then
okay,
whatever.
Well, that was my only question. And Commissioner Nardi, go ahead.
Ask a few questions. This wall was previously painted, from what I can see.
Oh yeah,
that's correct. Yeah, because I vaguely remember that.
Yes, it was.
I vaguely remember what was there. So to do something to it, I think is really important. You cannot, it would be a very big mistake to try to power wash this thing and remove whatever vestige of the old applied paint. It would really do damage to the building.
Well, I think, Commissioner Nardi, I think part of the proposal was to replicate some of the ones that are existing on the wall.
Right.
As opposed to just get rid of them.
Right. I'm just making commentary that I think it's probably not a bad idea to apply some kind of a finish to this brick, because right now it's open to the weather. So the first thing is I'm really good with doing something to this wall. The second thing is, what kind of paint are they planning to use? Do you know?
Well, John,
I don't know.
I'm not sure that I could tell you, but all the murals that John has done, like under the highway, the Dr. Seuss mural is there. He's and all the murals on 31 Elm Street are still holding up after almost 10 years now.
Yeah. Okay. So,
so I don't know what.
It's just somebody who's experienced is doing this.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So.
But I am wondering about, I don't think there's any plan to sandblast the building. or the water, or I think that this may be lead paint on this wall. And so we have to be mindful of anything that you know, that could be on there. I don't know if that's lead paint or not, but I would bet it is.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay.
Um,
All right. Any other
just
Go ahead, Al.
Just one last comment. So that makes a lot of
Yes.
sense to me, because I was concerned that it, you know, what they did, for example, underneath the highway and so forth, that's really very sensitive. It's not this bright, um, uh, crazy reflective finish. So if that's true, then if there that same sensitivity is going on here, then I'm pretty cool with this.
Okay.
But it's going to take a lot of time and a lot of effort
Yeah.
to do what I'm looking at in this photograph. A lot.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
Absolutely.
John told me to tell you that to do what to restore that building, that would be a restoration company that would do that. John is not, you know, he could do it, but he said there's really no art in other words, there's no creativity in that. It's really a very very hard sort of job, because you're standing there trying to replicate something exactly by looking at old images. It would probably be, for a company to come in and do that, I can't even imagine how much money that would cost, but it would be nowhere near when John creates something, and he pretty much knows exactly how to apply it, how to get it to look its best. But he's not interested in doing an exact replica of that wall at all.
Yeah.
It's just, that would be somebody else would have to come in to do that, and would probably be north of $100,000 to do that.
I'm also intrigued with the fact that you're using some of the original logos, because that's not something I've seen ever before. And it's really a very, very clever idea.
The process that we went through here was kind of, one of the themes we were going to look at were some of the images John was going to use. He was going to make it look like it was on like an old Polaroid photograph. So there was going to be these references to this photography motif, but not exactly. And then there would be some of those more iconic photos there that are more recognizable and are more visible right now. He would incorporate that into the. That's what he was. If you look at his rendering, I don't know if you have if you can put that up here, but that was his intention, was to have some of those images incorporated in a very cohesive, composition with the other images.
Yeah, it seems to me that it would really be, if I was visiting Springfield and somebody, or a visitor center or whatever, wherever I got out on the train or whatever, handed me something. So I saw a photo of this thing with some notations as to who I'm looking at. What did they do here in Springfield? That would really add some interest to me if I was a visitor.
Yeah.
I'd go a little farther than just paint the mural. I'd go into the PR of it all.
Yeah. No, I think that's
Just saying.
Yeah, there's interesting, some of the images on here reflect like artists who lived on Worthington Street back in the early 80s, I think, is when Shimon Augustine was painting on, and he later became a world-renowned artist who just passed away a couple of weeks ago. But he was a very accomplished artist who spent many years here in Springfield. And my brother actually has many of his pieces that are now worth a lot.
So I'm going to interject here.
Okay.
Just that
Done.
I was just under the impression from the first presentation that there was going to be some replication of some of the things that are on there. So It sounds like that's not what's going to happen now. Is that a change, or is that just?
I think there are some things in here. I have to look for them. I think he kept a couple of them. Yeah, if you look up on top of the Dr. Seuss book cover at the lower left-hand corner there, I think there are some things in there that are on the building now.
So I guess my point was I thought and this doesn't really make too much difference to me necessarily. I just thought I kind of got the impression that some of the ones that were existing there would be redone where they are.
Yeah, that's it. That would be his goal because.
Oh, okay. All right. So that didn't change it. Okay. Right. Any other commissioners have questions or comments?
Yeah, I'm just curious, how many of the original antique commercial visual advertisements are going to be replicated in the same spot?
I don't know. You know, this is a site-specific installation, and a lot of it has to do with, you know, what the wall is like his canvas, and he has to work within the confines of that medium, and so it's very hard for it to pin down what he can do, but he said he's going to make every effort to incorporate some of those into it, but I couldn't begin to give you a number. Once he gets up there and he starts working on it, then he you know, then he'll have a better idea.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, if there's no other in that public commentary, was that a long one, Alvin?
Not really.
Can you just since we've discussed it this much, could you read that again for us, please?
Yes. Okay. So it's from the Springfield Preservation Trust. Dear Springfield Historical Commission, the Springfield Preservation Trust Board of Directors has voted to submit a letter regarding the request for a mural at 211 Worthington Street. The building, known as the Driscoll Block, was built in 1894 and is on the National Register of Historic Places and is a local historic district. The trust encourages restoration, excuse me. The trust encourages restoration of the existing faded advertising signage, which has been there for about 70 years. We do not support adding a contemporary mural. Historic buildings should not be the canvas for new murals. Thank you for your consideration, Mr. Derek Strahan, President. Okay,
thank you very much. If there's nothing else, I'd entertain a motion to accept the application for certificate of appropriateness at 211, 213 Worthington Street to apply a mural as illustrated.
We'll make that motion.
Okay, thank you. Is there a second on the motion?
Can I just add something to the motion? That we approve the certificate for appropriateness with the understanding that the artist will do his best to try to duplicate some of the things that are still some vestige there on the building.
Okay. So the motion would be that. Is there a second on the motion?
Second that.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Finn. Is there any discussion on the motion?
So I'm sorry, I know we've talked through this. Evan, the mural itself, is this going to go over the entire side of the building as it's set up now, or is this mural going below where the windows start?
No, it would be to the top of the windows, I believe. If you look back at that rendering, I think that would depict it, but I think the windows would be part of it. Yeah.
So essentially everything below the windows is where the new mural would go.
Yeah, right.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, the rendering doesn't really give us an idea of how it's actually going to sit on the face of that building, but so any other discussion on that motion?
Okay. I just have a comment. I would be in support of the application, provided that all existing commercial advertisements or whatever murals currently exist today are in fact covered. I think it would look a little strange to have, brand new paintwork against paintwork that was, performed 70 years ago.
So to clarify that, if they're not doing it, you'd want it what to happen? If they're not using one, you'd want it to be removed?
So
Did I miss?
It appears that the current paintings go all the way to basically the soffit of the roof line.
Right.
Yeah, I would like to see all of that covered. I think they're beautiful even as they are, as faded as they are.
I see.
Something, say a third of the way up or 2/3 of the way up is only going to draw emphasis to the fact that there was something original there that is still going to remain. And I struggle just personally with, the contemporary version of this versus what was there. I would prefer a complete restoration, although to Mr. Plotkin's point, that is a huge, huge cost, I'm certain. But I would prefer to see the entire side of the building, repainted.
Yeah, I'm sort of surprised with the word contemporary in one of the commentaries, because this is the farthest thing from contemporary compared to what I've seen around the city. But I think your point, David, is really well taken.
Yeah, no, and let me rephrase that. Yes, relative to murals currently being painted, this is anything but contemporary.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Any other comments from commissioners? No. Okay, I'm going to call the vote. Commissioner Nardi?
Yes.
Commissioner McFarland?
No.
Commissioner Finn?
Yes.
Commissioner Kroll?
Yes.
And Commissioner Walsh is yes. Mike, now we voted in favor of that as presented, but I just want to suggest that if it's not going to be as presented, if something, when they look at the wall or something has to be different than what they've already explained to us, they would have to come and tell us it's going to be different. But
So yeah, I just want to clarify, you guys are requiring that they paint the entirety of that side of the building.
say that again.
You guys are requiring that they paint the entirety of that side of the building.
Well, that was what I believe that I couldn't word it all, repeat it all back to you, but
Yep, no problem.
okay.
I think maybe you should say if there was any material changes from the rendering, because as I said, it's a site-specific kind of installation. There are things that are going to change, and we can't stop and get a vote from everybody on some modification. I think.
Well, this is a tough one. We decided the first meeting we discussed about this being a tough one for a lot of reasons, because I can't quite picture it. Obviously I just voted to allow this to move forward. But what I mean is, if all of a sudden you're not going to redo any of the old ones and you're just going to put a mural on there, that's a change from what you presented to us.
Yeah.
Or if anything becomes, and I can't define it for you, major or not major, but if you're looking at the wall and all of a sudden it's like that, we're not going to be able to do what we said. If that crosses the artist's mind, then he's got to come back and tell us what he's going to do differently.
Okay.
All right, but we just voted to allow you to move forward with that.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
I appreciate it very much. Thank you. Have a great day or night.
You too. Yeah, that too. Okay, next in line is 19 Florentine Gardens.
We have not received public commentary for 19 Florentine Gardens.
Okay, this is an application for certificate of appropriateness to replace 6 windows on the second floor. No changes on the window casings. They are Harvey Majestic windows, double hung, no grid work, forest green exterior. Identical in size to the current window. Lower sash will sit directly on the sill. Do any commissioners have any questions, or does the petitioner want to add anything?
I'm the petitioner, Paul Ryan. I don't have anything to add. I can answer any questions if you have any.
No, I think you gave us a good deal of information the first time around, so
Okay.
I think we're good. And nothing from commissioners? If not, I'll entertain a motion to accept the application for certificate of appropriateness at 19 Florentine Gardens to replace 6 windows on the second floor with, hang on, let me get back there,
So moved.
with the Harvey Majestic windows, forest green exterior with the lower sash sitting directly on the sill.
So moved.
Second.
Thank
Second.
you. And a second. Any discussion on that motion? Hearing none, we'll take the vote again. Commissioner Walsh votes yes. Commissioner Nardi,
Yes.
Commissioner McFarland,
Yes.
Commissioner Finn,
Yes.
and Commissioner Kroll.
Yes.
Okay. You're all set, Mr. Ryan.
Thank you.
No, thank you. Okay, next is 10 Cornell Street.
I'm going to stay for a little bit.
This is an application for certificate of appropriateness to replace 2 windows in the stairway. No change, no, I can't read it again. Aluminum clad exterior, dark gray, Pella lifestyle stained wood interior. Existing trim left in place. Okay. We had a lot of information in this file for the first hearing. Was there any public commentary on this one?
No, we have not received any public commentary.
Okay, is there anything that the petitioner would like to add?
I'm here from Pella Windows, and I have nothing to add.
Okay, thank you. Is there any commissioners have any questions? Okay, hearing none, hold on a second. I'm just reading this part of this here. I'd entertain a motion to accept the application for certificate of appropriateness at 10 Cornell Street to replace the 2 windows in the stairway.
So moved.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, thank you very much. Just want to get the specific. Pella lifestyle stain, wood interior, dark gray, aluminum clad exterior. Okay. Any discussion on that motion? Hearing none, we call the vote. Commissioner Kroll,
Yes.
Commissioner Finn,
Yes.
Commissioner McFarland,
Yes.
Commissioner Nardi,
Yes.
Commissioner Walsh is yes. Okay. That's all set to go.
Great. Thank you very much.
Okay, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, next is 107 Maplewood Terrace, installation of mini split air conditioning unit. This is an application for certificate of appropriateness to each side of the house. Run the AC lines that cover from above the 3rd floor window to the condenser, mounting the condenser between 18 or 40 inches above ground. Okay, this one I gotta refresh my memory on a little bit. Wasn't there a
John Mayak,
Hi, John, wasn't this the one where something was gonna go somewhere and it already got changed, right?
Yeah, that was pretty technical there. Yes.
Yeah, I know it. I was thinking this is the one. Right?
So
Is there anything else you'd like to add, John?
I don't think so. We're going to do our best to camouflage the line set covers that come out of the house. Of course, the unit itself is inside the house, but we do need to run the line to the condenser. The condenser box will be hidden in a spot where it really can't be seen by anybody, behind a fence. And we'll do our best to paint the line set covers to match the house and also run them in a manner to make them as conspicuous as possible.
Okay.
Hey, I got a question. Hey, John.
Yes, Walter.
One of the things that came up last time, I think it was actually Brian's. Oh, there you go. He was asking if the contractor could run it diagonally along the roof line instead
Right.
of coming straight down.
I haven't gotten an answer from the contractor on that one, on that aspect.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know
that's
why.
the- that's-
To me, you know, it's just what angle it comes out of the house at, really.
Yeah, can we have that other picture back, Alvin?
Al might have
Is
some.
it that? Yeah, that one right there. Right,
Right.
because we,
Yeah. So
I would-
last week it was recommended that we just run where you see the black line, which represents where the line set cover would travel. That instead of running straight down the side of the window, run it along the angle of the peak of the roof there.
right.
To further camouflage it. Yep.
I mean, it's, I've seen those done in very interesting ways. I'd be really surprised if they couldn't accommodate you on that.
I would be really surprised too. Yeah.
I know I don't necessarily, yeah. Well, that'd be up to the commissioners to decide if that would be a determining factor. In other words, the motion could be made that be considered, and if they can't do it, you'd have to let us know. But you know, that was the only thing, and I thought, you know, at that last meeting we kind of
Now, even if we can't do it that way, which I kind of doubt, you know, even if it's running in the same, you know, if it ends up having to be running the route that is depicted here, you know, we're still going to paint it.
correct.
And,
Yeah.
you know, and camouflage it as best we can. So I don't think even if it's running in this route, it's not going to be very conspicuous. And this is on the side of a house that's up against my neighbor. So it's actually you don't even see this side of the house very frequently anyway. You got to kind of driving down maybe terrace,
Right.
you know, this particular manner to see it.
All right. Okay. Alvin, there was no commentary, right? Alvin,
Yep,
no
sorry.
commentary, right? No public
Yep.
commentary.
No public commentary
Okay.
on this particular matter.
All right. Any commissioners have questions?
Just an
Go ahead,
observation.
Commissioner Nardi.
Just an observation. One, if they do follow underneath the eave line, not only is it good for the visibility problem, but also it's protecting that thing. So I'm pretty sure that I've seen it done many times before. The other thing is that it's a shorter run of pipe.
It may be, yep.
That's
It
what
may
John
be
was saying
more,
last time.
yes,
Yeah.
that may actually be the optimal way to run this anyway.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah,
So
regardless.
don't forget to ask for your credit.
Well, don't worry about that too much. Any other comments or questions?
Well, I know if there was a motion made, if you were willing, John, to attempt to conduit under those eaves, I myself would be more likely to vote in favor than otherwise.
Motion.
Sure, I would prefer to have it run that way too. I want it as inconspicuous as possible. So,
Okay.
and I think Mr. Nardi's correct that it may be a shorter run of pipe doing it that way anyway. So,
Okay. Any others? Okay, hearing none, I'd entertain a motion to accept the application for certificate of appropriateness to run the AC line set cover from above the third floor window to the condenser, mount the condenser between 1840 feet, 40 inches above the ground, as illustrated, and whoever makes this motion, add what you'd like or not. That's the gist of the application. So if you want to change that, add something before before we second the motion.
Yeah, I'd like to move and add that you take the conduit up on the top level of the photograph area that we were looking at and run it under the eaves if possible. In addition to your camouflaging of everything else.
Yeah, I mean the illustrations are pretty good. Is there a second on that motion?
I'll second that.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, hearing none, we call the vote. Commissioner Finn,
Yes.
Commissioner Kroll,
Yes.
Commissioner Walsh is yes, Commissioner Nardi,
Yes.
Commissioner McFarland.
Yes.
Okay. You're all set for that.
Thank you, folks. Appreciate the help.
No, thank you. Thank you. Okay, next we have 70 Randolph Street, which is an application for certificate of appropriateness to replace the garage doors. Is it? Oh, there's Allison. Okay.
Yep, I'm here.
Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to add to that? Because this has already been done, correct? Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I just had to refresh myself.
No, that's okay. It was an emergency and it fell down, so we had to replace it as soon as possible to secure the premises.
All right. Any commissioners have any questions?
Alvin, can you pull up what's there right now?
Okay. I can show you the before and the after.
Thank you, sir.
No problem. Okay, so this is what was there previously. All right, this is a Google Street View image. This is what's there today.
I mean, it's a similar, it's a,
It is. It's not as though, beautiful carriage house doors or something.
no, and
It's just regular panel.
similar design. That's an original wood panel door. And I'm sure they replaced it with an aluminum door that replicates panels.
Correct.
And I don't see windows in either one, right? Okay.
No.
All right. Any other questions from commissioners? And I entertain a motion to accept the application for certificate of appropriateness at 70 Randolph Street to replace the garage door.
So moved.
So moved.
Okay. Motion and a second. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. Let me call the vote. Commissioner Kroll,
Yes.
Commissioner Finn,
Yes.
Commissioner McFarland,
Yes.
Commissioner Nardi,
Yes.
Commissioner Walsh is yes. Okay, that just that passes, so you're all set with that door.
Great.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we have one new hearing, 407 Union Street, which is the installation of solar panels. Application for certificate of appropriateness to installation of interconnected rooftop PV system. 14 black panels installed on the rear of the home only. This is, okay. All right, who's here? This is
Hi,
Roberta
this is
Cardona.
Steve from Sunrun.
Okay, and the owner, I see the owner here as well.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, thank you, Roberto. Okay, go ahead, Mr. Kelly.
We're proposing to put black on black panels on the rear of the home, so you can't see anything from the front street.
Okay.
And pretty basic system. Probably can see it from the cemetery, but you shouldn't be able to see it from the street.
Okay. Now, one of the things one of the changes we try to mitigate the most is where all the mechanicals are going to end up.
Just thought to look at that, and it's going to be on the side of the fence. It's a pretty, side of the house, past the meters, between the couple of windows there. There's a fence that's pretty close. There's a tree that blocks it. Of course, trees and bushes are temporary or not permanent, but it's going to be on the side of the house.
Okay. Now, I just got the picture in front of me, Mr. Kelly. What side of the house did you say it was going to be on?
It's on the right side of the house,
Okay.
and there's a brown fence
Okay, and there's an existing electric meter there already?
Correct.
Okay, so they're not trying to move a meter. Okay. Any commissioners have any? There we go.
Well, I have a question maybe for Attorney Shuchuk. I'm wondering, does a cemetery count as a public way? What would weigh in on that? Just because I've never had this come up since I've been on the commission, and I'm wondering, if it ever has come up and what the determination is, if a cemetery is considered a public way or not. Certainly has a bearing on voting.
Well, part of what we're after is minimally visible.
Yeah, I'm not sure if the cemetery would be a public.
My take, Attorney Shuchuk, would be that most cemeteries aren't necessarily public. So I don't know if that one is or not. Which cemetery is it? Is that the Springfield Cemetery? Yeah. I'm not sure that those neighbors would be particularly worried about seeing the panels up on the roof, but it is a great question to know for certain other circumstances. I think I wouldn't. That one's not bothering me right this minute, mainly because solar's here. It's not going away, and minimally visible is kind of our goal. I think this meets that, as long as the hardware part is, we do the best we can to make the hardware not just a blot on the side of the house. And here's all the works. And I have a little bit of experience with it because my son got solar, and on the side of what's on the side of his house, I would not want in the historic district. I'd want some mitigation of it, so it's either not visible or it's minimally visible as well. That's why I asked the question of Mr. Kelly, to see if the location and what have you was taken into consideration from a visibility standpoint.
No, I'm inclined to agree with you, Chairman Walsh. I was more just curious from an academic quandary.
It is a good question, yes.
Yeah, there's no case law, I don't think, on that. I could double check, but
I think just the technical is, could it possibly be considered a public way at some point? Commissioner Nardi, did you have a question?
Oh, no, I agree with you.
Okay. Any other, just reiterate how the hardware is going to be? I mean, I know you said the right side. How close to the front of the house?
If you hang on a second, I'll take a look at the plans.
Okay.
I believe they'll be between the windows. We generally don't want to put them at the windows. I don't have a side elevation. It's going to be to the right side of the meters. There's also the possibility that we could put some of that equipment in the basement. I guess that's up to Roberto. Generally, it's discussed at the date of install with the homeowner.
Yeah.
But that is certainly a potential. I generally don't do wire. I do wood, so I can't speak to it directly. I know that
like the disconnects and stuff are required to be on the outside, so we know that. But that's maybe some information that Roberto can get for us at some time. Since we can't, since we're not voting on this tonight, we're just getting information, and then we allow people for public commentary, and then we review all the information at the next meeting and vote then. Is there anything else you'd like to add? I'm asking, speak to the petitioner. Anything else you'd like to add regarding, or Mr. Kelly, Mr. Cardona, or Mr. Kelly, anything else?
The only thing I might mention is there are panels on the neighbor's home, so it's not necessarily unique, which doesn't always matter to commissions.
Well, we do have to take it one thing at a time, and we're just looking for minimal visibility. I think, Mr. Kelly, I think you understand what I'm saying relative to historic property having it show up as little as possible, and if it's behind something or it's hidden at least in some manner, or a conduit can be painted and to match the house and things like that. That matters. That makes a difference to us.
Sure.
But, go ahead, sir.
We do pride ourselves on making it as clean as possible. And as I mentioned, we do have the capability of putting some of the equipment in the house. So
Excellent.
Can work both ways.
Okay.
I can see if I can get something better for you than what I have right now.
Yeah, something on that side elevation, an illustration, some kind of rendering would be great. If we're all set, if there's no questions from commissioners right now, I'd entertain a motion to continue this.
I do want to, I'm sorry, Commissioner Walsh, I do want to add that I did get an email from Mr. Alan Pop, who is the president of the Mason Wright Foundation and affiliates.
Yep.
Mason Wright is the senior living community just next door, just to the east. They state that they have no objections to the proposal.
Excellent. Okay. And the next meeting, our next meeting will be July 5th. So I'm going to entertain a motion to continue to July 15th meeting.
So move.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion on that motion? Hearing none, I'll call the vote. Commissioner Walsh, yes. Commissioner Nardi,
Yes.
Commissioner McFarland,
Yes.
Commissioner Finn,
Yes.
and Commissioner Kroll.
Yes.
Okay. All right, you're all set. We're continued to the next meeting. That rendering would be great, or any other information, and then there'll be just any public commentary will be added, and we'll have a vote on that day.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, we have a. Okay. Now on 9 York Street, can you update us on that, Alvin?
Yes, I received a 30-day letter of extension. And basically they said they couldn't make this meeting, but they will be at the next meeting, July 15th.
Okay. So we don't have to, that's all set till July 15th.
Yep.
Okay, that's good for me. And then we have other matters properly before the commission. 121 Dartmouth Terrace non-compliance, replacement of garage doors, replacement windows, reorientation of the side steps.
I have that answer for if they violate a stop work order before you start. It would be $100 for the first offense, $300 for each subsequent offense. Each such day a violation continues shall constitute a separate offense.
Okay. So they've got a few offenses in here. Because I'm sure something like that wouldn't happen until you notified them that it was going to happen.
Yeah.
You can't go retro and say, hey, you owe us all kinds, because I wouldn't want that to happen to me either. So, so I guess the question is, what do we do next?
If you want to go for the start finding them, you just notify the building commissioner. And the building commissioner, starts the process.
Okay.
For finding.
And there's nobody on the meeting right now. Relative. No.
No, there's no one on the homeowner's not on the meeting.
Okay. I'm just looking. If you could mute the other two, would be great.
Yep, I got you.
Could you tell me how many stop work orders were issued on this property?
Well, I got one on 6/2/21, 10/20/20, 11/6/18. I got 3 right in front of me.
And I think did we have 2 different owners? I think it's important to note and make sure it's the same owner.
Well, all three of these are the same owner.
Okay, good.
So I guess this is a case where we probably I would entertain a motion that we refer this to the building department.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion on that motion? Is the motion clear enough that we are referring this for action on the stop orders issued at 121 Dartmouth Terrace? That's clear enough? Okay. Any discussion? Hearing none, let me take the vote again. I'll start with Commissioner McFarland,
Yes.
Commissioner Finn,
Yes.
Commissioner Kroll,
Yes.
Commissioner Walsh is yes, Commissioner Nardi.
Yes.
Okay. Let me know if there's something I have to do with that, Alvin.
Okay. So will a letter from the law department be going to the building department? I guess.
Yeah, I can contact the building commissioner, let them know what the deal is and what's going on. So
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to say sent to building. Okay. Is there no other business properly before the commission?
I do want to acknowledge Commissioner Duquette is on the call.
Oh, I didn't even notice that. Okay. I think we're all set, though. I don't think I have to.
At this point.
I didn't see when he came on, so I appreciate you coming on, but I didn't know he was there. Looks like my battery's gonna hold out. That's good. Any other? And one other thing, I can't find it, so it's not that important. Anyway, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.